Today, my guest is a champion for diabetes research and prevention through walking. Known internationally as the Walking Diva, Yolanda Holder is a Guinness World Record holder and relentless advocate for walking as preventive measure for all disease. Her book, My Journey to Guinness, tells her story, and she's an inspiration to us all. Welcome, Yolanda.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So I wanted full disclosure. Yolanda's my friend for late 90s, Yolanda. I'm trying to think when we first met, walking and running a long time. And I always see this beautiful lady out at the races. And I used to chase her at the LA Marathon because she was walking and I was running and she was still ahead of me. So it was always, there's the Yolanda, there she goes. So tell us how you started walking in the first place.
I started at competing and doing a lot of marathons. For my 50th birthday, I wanted to do something different. So I set out to do 50 marathons in 50 weeks. I didn't accomplish that. Instead, I did 66 marathons, and I haven't stopped. And so that's basically how I got started. Like I said, and that was back in 2008. And I'm happy to say that I am celebrating 15 years of marathons and beyond. This year, 2023, is the 15 years that I've started.
Amazing. Yeah. Yolanda, did you go in with a basic level of fitness, or was it new to you to embark in the fitness space?
It was absolutely new. I used to walk my neighborhood mile or 2 miles a day with my neighbors, nothing fancy. Back in 1998, I believe it was, I did my first 5K, and it was the Revlon for women, the cosmetic company. They had my cousin lives in Los Angeles, and so she had called me up and said, I want you to do this 5K with me. And so I was like, oh, okay. And it was held at UCLA on the campus. And that's when I first really got hooked on doing 5 and 10Ks, because the atmosphere was just amazing. It was hundreds of women. Their expo is nothing like today's expo. Yeah. I mean, with bags of stuff, T-shirts, all different types of products. And so that's basically how I started off, just doing a few 5Ks and 10Ks. And then my first half marathon was it was called the San Diego Half Marathon, but it was in Carlsbad. Today it's called the Carlsbad Marathon. Matter of fact, I think they just had it a couple of weekends ago. And so that was my first half marathon. I thought I was going to die. Just couldn't believe I walked the whole thing. And so I met my walking buddy, Brenda. And so then that was in January. And March was the LA Marathon. And my friend Brenda, she had asked me to do the LA Marathon, and I told her I wasn't ready yet. I was just like, a marathon, 26 miles, no way. So anyway, long story short, when she called me after she finished it, we talked for hours, and I was just so motivated by her walking her first full marathon. And so by October, I decided that I was ready to do my first full marathon. So I picked the Portland Marathon because they were walker friendly. And that was in 1998. And that was my first full marathon. And so between 98 and 2008, I had only done maybe 12 full marathons. And back then, if you did one marathon, you talked about it for 6 months.
Right, right.
Remember that?
Right. Oh, sure. Oh,
yeah,
sure.
I was so excited. And so when my 50th birthday was coming up, my sister had went on a 7-day cruise. A girlfriend bought a Harley. Everybody was doing something, something big, something different. And so that's when I came up, well, you know what? I'm going to do 50 marathons in 50 weeks. And so that's basically, but I've never been an athlete. Back to your question. Yeah, I never walked or anything. That's just I just did local, 5Ks or just easy, just neighborhood walking. And that is what really started it when I did the Portland Marathon. That was the start of my I want to call it my career.
And getting on airplanes and traveling to other cities, it's a big undertaking to do travel runs. Yolanda and I speak the same language when it comes to this, that we both would at one point converged and we'd go to the ends of the earth, from Charlie Alewine down in Huntington Beach to Santa Monica Beach with they're now called Better World Running, to the big city races, and we'd all see each other, and the camaraderie and the friends we made for life through that were absolutely amazing. You transitioned at some point from marathoning to ultra marathoning, and an ultra marathon, it's an unfathomable distance. And well, you could call anything over 26.2 an ultra. That's the lingo. But we're talking 50 miles, 100 miles. Did you know the benefits and then the challenges? There's the benefits of walking, which we all know: cardiovascular, your health, your wellness, your stress level. Then there's really working it, to get your body in tip-top shape. Then there's ultra. So did you even know what you were getting into?
No, actually, I didn't. When I couldn't find a marathon, there was the trails, and I didn't know basically that a 50K and a trail. But when we couldn't find, or me couldn't find, a marathon on Saturday, there was plenty of ultras, which is a 50K. 50K is 31 miles, and they were always pretty much up in the mountains, trails. And I believe I was just blessed with the strength of my legs, of being a walker, and a lot of times going up the hills, you do have to walk. And so I was able to power walk and have really good strength in my legs to do that. And then actually being out in the scenery of around just, the scenery was just beautiful. I prefer a 50K over a marathon any day. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of how I got into that. And then my very first 50 miler was the JFK 50 miler in Maryland. And a friend of mine asked me to do it with her. And so that was on a Saturday. And I actually did very well. I finished it in 11 hours. And
wow.
Again, it was just something about that the more I was doing, the more I wanted to do. And then after I did the 50K, my husband came, he traveled with me a lot. And so right after I did the 50K, the next day I did the Philadelphia Marathon.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah. So, and that was back to back. And back then people didn't even think of doing that. And, but it was just the point that I enjoyed it. It was the challenge. And again, back then I was just basically injury free, and walking was just so much easier than running. The runners tend to have a lot of injuries, and me, I just kept going with the walking.
Yolanda, did you pick any of those goals that a lot of the frequent, I would call them frequent marathoners, the 50 states or 7 continents, all the countries? Which aspect of that drew you in?
Well, when I'm a marathon maniac and a 50-stater. Okay. And so back, I believe I was doing the Rock and Roll San Diego Marathon, and I saw someone with the Marathon Maniac shirt on. So I got in touch with the Marathon Maniacs, and I asked them, and this was back again in 2007, right around 2007, 2008, when I started the 50 marathons in 50 weeks. I emailed them and I told them that I was a walker and could I join their club? And they responded back and said, we don't care if you walk, run, hop, skip, or jump, as long as you're having fun. And so the people in that club just really inspired me. And that's how I got the name, the Walking Diva, because I would get my hair done the day before a race, wear my designer sunglasses, and I would wear a tennis skirt. And I thought, if you're going to pay this amount of money and you're in the back of the pack anyway, why not have fun and look good?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
look good while you're doing it. No one says you have to be all miserable and wear those ugly little shorts that they wear. And no, I made it a point to enjoy myself and to look good while I was doing it.
Good
And
for
so
you.
I became in 2008, I think that was the first year I became Maniac of the Year.
Mhm.
I became Maniac of the Year 3 years in a row. I don't believe they have that anymore, but I became Maniac of the Year, and I also became in their Hall of Fame. And then while doing that, I was going for the 50 states, and I'm embarrassed to say I have not finished all 50 states because I was chasing the Guinness World Record,
Right.
and I needed more mileage, more marathons rather than trying to hit a state. And so, yeah, that's a matter of fact, I told someone that I did across the years 6-day race.
Oh, yeah.
Someone was like, I'm going to tell everybody you have not finished all 50 states. So I said, please keep that to yourself. But
I thought,
anyway,
yeah, I would have thought you've done it 10
yes,
times over. And I'm going to make a
yeah,
public confession. I'm only at 32 states, and everyone says, you run every week. I said,
yeah,
yeah, I'm only at
yeah.
32 because you're chasing other goals, right?
Yeah,
Or
I'm chasing
locations.
other
Yeah,
goals
yeah,
and
yeah,
doing 100 milers
yeah.
and then now I'm doing multiple day racing and that's just kind of sometimes don't have time to chase that goal.
Yeah, and my guest is Yolanda Holder, and we're talking about walking. She's the walking diva, and she is a walking example of someone who walks the walk, walks the talk. And I can't tell you on all these fitness quests that everyone's going on, how beautifully beneficial walking is, and how it's now becoming widely accepted as an alternative to any. It's the number one way to keep your body upright and fit and healthy at any age. I can't say enough about that. Yolanda, tell us about your trajectory to the Guinness Book of World Records. And how did it even occur to you that that's something you could do?
Well, again, when I was a marathon maniac in 2009, when I became Maniac of the Year, I got in touch with Guinness and to see if there was anything it's the most marathons in a calendar year. And so they came back and they said there's a lady over in Italy and she ran 100 marathons and you need to beat her record with 101 or more. And so in 2010, and then by me, being 50, I just decided that I would chase that dream. And I don't know if you remember this book, The Secret, that had came out around that time. I read the book, I followed all the steps, and I ended up finishing 106 marathons. And I stayed focused. I traveled all over the country. It was something that was really special to me because it was a goal that was so huge and that it was also competing with runners, even though I was back of the pack. And it was about just finishing, and then it was more about the medal, also, as you know,
Yeah, sure, of
about the
course.
medal.
Yeah.
It's all about the medal, and it made me more determined because there was a lot of negativity around me being a walker doing a marathon. As a matter of fact, it's Black History. Today is the first day of Black History Month,
Yes.
and I kind of wrote about it because I know I'm an inspiration and I inspire people, but people don't see behind the scenes, some of the things that I go to, and I'm not going to touch too much on that. But today I did write about it on my social media, but I was taunted a lot. I was taunted so much, and people would even say in my face, how much they didn't like me, and anybody can walk a marathon. And again, I'm not going to touch on it because I talked about it this morning and it kind of made me a little sad.
Yeah.
But it comes with the territory. I mean, it's just like an entertainer. And that's the way I kind of feel now a little bit, because a lot of times the entertainers, they get that. They get the haters, for no reason whatsoever. But anyway, it was just a goal that I said, this is huge. And to know that there was no there was only one woman, and she was actually the first to do it. And then my friend Larry Macomb, he was second in the world to do it, and the first man. And then it's like an honor to me, because by me being a walker, to do something this huge,
Sure.
yeah, so it was just amazing. And then it was also amazing to be the first African American, male or female, runner or walker. And I hold that dearly. That just makes me, at first, it didn't make me feel that great, because like I said, with the taunting, and sometimes you focus more on that one negative versus that 10 positives that you just got. And so I'm learning more to let that go. But sometimes it just kind of creeps in. But that was huge.
Absolutely. Yeah, but you've been so resilient. Thank God you've really been able to plow through, because it's, it's so easy. Anybody can walk up to you and give you and plant a negative thought in your head, and then it just destroys you. You become deflated, and you don't want. And that's one thing we have to keep, because it's not selfish to turn inward to yourself and say, stay with yourself, what it is you're going to do that's good for you. Because if you're not good to yourself, you can't be good for anybody else. I mean, it's an age-old story, right? It's yeah. Now, you also turn this into a positive force for raising money and awareness for diabetes. Can you tell us about that angle of your walking career? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I lost both of my parents to type 2 diabetes. My dad, I think we're going on almost, 20 years that he passed away. And then, but my mom is more recent, 9 years ago. And she lost her battle. She had a massive stroke, which was great that she had a massive stroke and left us. But 3 months before she died, she was very proud of me, of my career doing the marathons and stuff. And she was in the hospital, a rehabilitation hospital. She had broken her ankle. And with diabetes, type 2 diabetes, sometimes you just don't heal. And then with her age, yeah. So, and it didn't hurt. She was just there they were measuring a boot for her. And so I had she was up in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I had just did a 50K. And so afterwards I stopped by, spent some time with her. And as I was leaving, we had already said our goodbyes. And so she said, Yolanda. And so as I got to the door, I turned back and I looked at her, and she said, you can use me. And I just looked at her and I said, okay. And so as I turned to walk down the hall to leave, tears just rolled down my face. And I didn't even know why I was crying. And so the nurse said, girl, what are you crying for? Your mom's going to be fine. She's just here for a boot. She leaves tomorrow. And I just said, yeah, I know. And then a few months, the next year, well, then she passed away. And then that following year, she passed away in September, but the following year, my son she loved my son. Well, she loved all her grandkids.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just in case my nieces and nephews, she loved you all. But so my son had graduated from getting his master's degree at 2 different universities at the same time.
Wow.
And yeah, it was amazing. And so I picked up the phone to call her, and I was like, oh, darn, wow, she's not here. And then it just popped in my head, is that what can I do to bring awareness that something as simple as walking can help, lower or help prevent type 2 diabetes and all diseases. And so I immediately picked up the phone, and I called the Riverside American Diabetes office, and they worked with me, and I did my first walk, which was from Corona to Oakland, to the diabetes office in Oakland. It took me 10 days, 525 miles, and I raised some funds. And along the way, I stopped and talked about, the benefits of walking in diabetes. And that led to how I started Extreme Walk for Diabetes. And I have a group there on Facebook, and we post different things about, walking and diabetes and just different things like that to just bring awareness that, and like I said, it doesn't just always help prevent diabetes. It helps prevents everything. I had a
Yes.
lady, she was real shy. She didn't want to post or anything, but she sent me a message and she said, Yolanda, um, and she really scared me because as I'm reading it, she said, I just left my doctor's office and he was like really puzzled to what is going on with you. Your vitals are so low. Whatever it is that you're doing, please keep doing it.
Mhm.
And so she told me, well, I just been walking. I've been walking 30 minutes a day. And so that made me feel really good. And so, but yeah, that's walking and in your health. It's walking is the easiest way to get started on anything physical that you like to do.
Yolanda, how do you mesh this with your personal life? I know you have children. I know you have a husband. You have a beautiful family. And how has it taken away from that?
No, because well, they're not like real excited for me anymore because I do so many.
I know the
But
feeling. Yeah.
I'm truly blessed because I didn't start until I was in my 50s.
Mhm.
And so we were in college. My two kids were
They
in
were
college.
big. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so they were big, but they're still, always will be mama's, daughter, mama's girl, that type of thing because they still today, how come you're not here? And why you're always going and walking? And so well, you're gone again. And so yeah, so I still get that, but
Yeah.
yeah, I've just been truly blessed that I started at a later age. And I do want to say that the human body is amazing. It
Mhm.
really is 80% mental, and the other 20% is you have to do the work. Um, but once you get past the mental, you're good. It's kind of like you're a marathoner. The hardest part is to get to the start line.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you have to train and all that, but your
Mm-hmm.
mindset is critical.
Mm-hmm.
Yolanda, you're bringing up exactly what I wanted to ask you. You know, this quest doesn't happen overnight. It's years in the making, and it's continuing to stay focused and continuing to, I look at you and I think you're achieving greatness. You are focusing on that goal and getting to the finish line, and maybe not looking at I'm the outsider looking in, and even though I have sort of the inside scoop, what you're doing is amazing, especially while aging. So talk to me about your thoughts about keeping up your fitness as you move towards becoming a senior citizen. You'll be 65.
Yeah.
And we're not
Well,
supposed to use that word anymore. Now we're older adults and but it's real. Yeah.
it's real. And
Uh-huh.
I grew up where my mom and grandmothers and aunts and cousins, all the elders, they didn't say their age and they didn't talk about, and then it wasn't their fault, but they didn't work out. They didn't eat healthy. It was what it was. It is what it is. And so I had no role models.
Mhm.
And then they definitely did not say their age.
Right.
Age was just, you just don't do that. And as a matter of fact, my half sister is 8 or 9 years older than me. And when I turned 40, she said, oh, she scared me. She said, I really need to talk to you. And I said, okay. And so we sat right in front of each other. Our knees were touching. And she said, we're in the same age bracket now. And you are not supposed to say your name. Please don't, I mean, your age, don't say your age. And I said, oh, okay. A couple of weeks later, I was in the Press Enterprise newspaper saying 40-year-old woman
Yeah.
is one of the 10 fittest, and I sent her the article.
Yeah.
Because it never bothered me. It just, I am so happy that I posted the other day that I am 64 and 9 months. In May, I will be 65. And I remember maybe 10 years ago marathoning, and some of the people that were turning 60 and 70, They were like happy that they were going
Yes.
to be in a new, you know what I'm going, where I'm going
Yeah,
with this.
sure.
They were so happy that they were
Yeah.
going to be in a new age group. And I
Yeah.
was like, what?
Yeah. Who's looking
Yes,
forward to turning 60, right?
I'm going to be in a new age group and I get to set and break new records.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
amazing. And as you well know, the more active you are, the more open you are to possibilities and to change and to trying new things. It's part of the territory. Yolanda, what advice do you give people who are just starting out, really at any age, about walking? Any, quick tips?
yeah, the quick tip is to put shoes on and walk out the door.
Okay.
See what happens. You may not like it, then you may want to try something else. You may want to go to the gym. And by the way, at age 59, I did my first bikini fitness competition. So you don't know what it is that you're going to like, but walking will lead to riding your bike, hiking, running, fitness competition. It just brings that out of you, you know, that physical, yeah, I can do this.
Right.
Hey, I'm gorgeous. I'm amazing. The human body is capable of doing a whole lot more than what you think it can.
Yolanda, what do you like about getting older?
The calmness,
Yeah.
and the I don't care.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the prevailing answer. Yeah.
The calmness and things that you once thought was so serious
Right.
really isn't.
Right. Exactly. And it just, the old expression, don't sweat the small stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yolanda, I want to thank you so much for being here with us. What an inspiration. And you continue to be an inspiration to me. And I'll always follow you. I'll always be behind your beautiful skirt, the walking diva. And thank you all to the audience for listening to Eat Well, Live Well, Age Well. Please tune in again for our engaging discussions on all things aging well. And please subscribe to my channel at Patricia Greenberg. For feedback and topic requests, you can contact me at patriciagreenberg.com. And for more information about Yolanda, again, reach out, Yolanda Holder, look for her. She is a beautiful inspiration to us all. And I'm looking forward to celebrating your 65th, Yolanda.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure.